Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine winning the world's most prestigious prize for promoting peace and truth.
Right.
Yet at that exact same moment, you are facing the threat of spending a century in prison.
That is the impossible position Maria Ressa found herself in. She's the co-founder of the Filipino online news organization, Rappler.
And that paradox, it just immediately sets the stage for this deep dive.
It really does. I mean, Ressa was awarded the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize for her work, safeguarding freedom of expression. But she was simultaneously battling this series of complex legal cases that, if she had lost them all consecutively, they carried a potential sentence of around 100 years.
That staggering level of jeopardy just from running an online news site, it tells you this isn't just a story about journalism.
No, not at all.
It's a global case study in digital warfare, media independence, and state-level conflict. Our mission today is to synthesize the history, the pioneering tech, and that complex legal gauntlet that turned Rappler into a symbol of media resilience.
Exactly. We're looking at a company founded back in 2012 by Ressa and a group of fellow Filipino journalists and technopreneurs. And crucially, their early mission wasn't just to publish news.
Right.
It was to use social media and crowdsourcing to actually engage the public. And understanding how they built their platform is really the key to understanding why they became such a significant target later on.
So let's start with those foundations. The name, Rappler. It's a portmanteau of rep, as in to speak, and ripples. It officially launched on January 1st, 2012, but its roots actually go back to a Facebook page called MovePH, which started in August 2011.
And the journalistic pedigree from the very start was just immense. I mean, the founding team included these highly respected figures, Maria Ressa, obviously, but also Glenda Gloria,
Who was the former head of Newsbreak, the investigative magazine.
Exactly, and Cheho Falenia, another veteran journalist. So Rappler's DNA, it really comes from that deep investigative work.
And they had serious tech and conceptual strength, too. People like Nix Naledo and Manuel Laialala were involved.
Right.
That mix of seasoned journalists and technopreneurs meant they weren't ever going to be just another static news site.
They certainly weren't. And their official debut, it coincided with an immediate splash. On that very first day, Rappler published an exclusive scoop in the Philippine Daily Inquirer.
What was it about?
It was about the then Chief Justice Renato Corona receiving a doctoral degree without submitting the required dissertation.
So they came out of the gate with high-stakes investigative work, making ripples, literally.
Instantly.
Now, here's where Rappler, for me, truly diverged from traditional media. They weren't just throwing text on a web page. They pioneered these unique ways to quantify and engage with their audience's emotional response to the news.
And that brings us to their most famous early innovation, the mood meter.
The mood meter, yeah.
This was a web widget embedded in every single article they published. It was visually just 8 colored bubbles, and it prompted readers to choose from one of 8 emotional reactions. Happy, angry, inspired, afraid.
So it was trying to quantify the effective impact of the news, and the tech didn't just stop there at one click per article.
No, it all fed into what they call the mood navigator. This tool aggregated all that data in real time, and it tracked the top 10 stories that were getting the most intense emotional reactions within a 48-hour window.
That shows such a deep commitment to tracking the emotional life of the news cycle.
It was recognized for it, too. It won a bronze medal at the 2012 Boomerang Awards for its novelty.
And what's fascinating here is how that early focus on measuring sentiment, it later equipped them to detect something far more insidious.
Absolutely.
When you're trained to monitor and map the collective emotional reaction of the public, you become acutely sensitive when those responses are suddenly, hijacked or orchestrated.
That's a great point. The mood meter was intended as a reader engagement tool, but it inadvertently gave them these unique insights into coordinated information campaigns. Well, if a story suddenly generates this unnatural flood of angry or afraid responses that just doesn't align with the content, it suggests external manipulation, not organic public interest.
Right. Beyond sentiment, they also focused on practical social journalism. They built this thing called Agas.
Yes, and Agas is so important because it demonstrates their commitment to serving the Filipino public.
What does it do?
It's a crowdsourcing platform, and it's focused entirely on disaster risk reduction and mitigation. It uses AI and social media to coordinate information during storms and natural crises, helping communities get relief where they need it most.
It's hard to ignore that irony. The same organization targeted for, corporate malfeasance was simultaneously using this cutting-edge tech to literally save lives during typhoons.
And they continue to evolve. In 2020, they launched Lighthouse, which is their advanced content delivery platform. It's built for modern web standards, accessibility compliance, and it supports their premium subscription, Rappler Plus Cows.
So they were trying to find a sustainable model.
Exactly. Subscribers get special reports, research data, deeper content. It insulates them a bit from the advertising pressures that can compromise traditional media. They were constantly innovating.
So we have this highly effective, sophisticated media company, mastering digital tools, engaging the public, even coordinating disaster relief. So when did their focus shift from just measuring ripples to actively fighting the tide?
That pivot point came pretty definitively around 2016.
After the election.
After the election of the Duterte government, Rappler, driven by that analytical focus we talked about, started noticing and tracking this coordinated network of paid followers, sock puppet accounts, and bots on social media.
And they were spreading what we now call fake news.
Disinformation.
Wow.
All designed to support the administration and often to target its critics. They were also, of course, deeply involved in documenting the controversial and very deadly Philippine drug war.
So they weren't just reporting on events. They were shining a light on the machinery behind the information war that was shaping those events.
Precisely. And their investigation into these disinformation campaigns led them directly into the formal global fact-checking sphere. In October 2017, Rappler became a verified signatory of the Poynter Institute's International Fact-Checking Network.
The IFCN, right? And what was the government's response to this?
Well, the friction just intensified dramatically. In April 2018, Facebook, which is, critical for information in the Philippines, partnered with Rappler and Verifiles for its local fact-checking program.
The goal being to lower the visibility of false news stories.
Yes, a logical move to clean up the information space.
So why would the government object to fact-checking?
This is what's so fascinating. It was the selective outrage. A government spokesperson publicly backed the idea of a fact-checking program in principle. But they specifically and vehemently protested Facebook's partnership with Rappler.
So the objection wasn't to fact-checking itself, but to who was doing the fact-checking.
It was specifically about Rappler's ability to flag content that favored those in power.
And that raises the obvious question for you, the listener. What happens when a sophisticated news organization actively exposes and corrects digital disinformation that appears to support the administration?
In Rappler's case, the answer was an overwhelming simultaneous barrage of legal challenges.
These campaigns were so intense that organizations like The Guardian and Reporters Without Borders, they labeled it judicial harassment.
They did. The Philippine government, for its part, has always denied any censorship claims, saying they were simply enforcing laws against corporate and criminal violators.
We need to dedicate some time to really understanding the mechanism of these attacks because they were multi-pronged. They were designed to overwhelm the organization and its leaders through sheer administrative pressure.
Let's start with the first major battle. It centered on Rappler's corporate structure and alleged violations of foreign ownership rules.
Okay, this is the SEC case. It began in January 2018 when the Securities and Exchange Commission revoked Rappler's certificate of incorporation,
essentially ordering them to shut down.
And the allegation was that they violated constitutional foreign equity restrictions in mass media.
Right. And the specific violation revolved around something called Philippine Depository Receipts, or PDRs.
For those of us who aren't familiar, what exactly is a PDR?
So a PDR is a financial instrument that a foreign investor can buy. It gives them rights to potential dividends, but crucially, it does not grant them control or voting rights or any operational equity in the company.
And Rappler had issued these to investors like the Omidyar network.
Correct. So the SEC's argument was that even though these PDRs weren't voting shares, they still amounted to unconstitutional foreign control over a media company.
And Rappler's defense?
That they were 100% Filipino-owned and that PDRs were just investments, not ownership.
The political fallout from that was immediate.
It was. Malacanang Palace, the executive branch, suggested that if Rappler couldn't operate as a corporation, its journalists could just keep publishing as bloggers.
Which is a clear move to strip them of their credibility and legal status.
A huge one. And in response, the Omidyar network tried to neutralize the issue. They donated all of their PDRs to Rappler's local editors and executives.
But the SEC didn't let up.
Not at all. In June 2022, right before former President Duterte left office, the SEC upheld its shutdown order. Maria Ressa called it intimidation tactics.
But there was a major reversal eventually.
A huge one, a delayed vindication. In August 2024, years later, the Court of Appeals overturned the SEC's shutdown order. They cited grave abuse of discretion by the SEC and ordered Rappler certificates restored.
So that legal defense was successful, but incredibly slow.
Very slow.
Okay, that covers the corporate battle. The second front was much more personal and far more damaging to Ressa, Cyberlibel.
This case stemmed from a 2012 article about a private entrepreneur named Wilfredo King.
And here's where the legal maneuvering gets really creative. The article was published in 2012. The law they used to charge them, the Cybercrime Prevention Act, was passed after the article was published. How did they retroactively apply the law?
This is the critical legal trick. The theory of continuing crime.
Continuing crime.
The prosecution argued that defamatory statements online aren't a one-time offense. Because the Rappler article was still accessible on the website in 2018, they claimed every minute it was live constituted a continuous republication.
Which would restart the statute of limitations and let them apply the new law.
Exactly. It's essentially arguing that by maintaining their online archive, they were committing a new crime every minute.
Yeah.
A legal trap for online
What?
news organizations.
It weaponized the very nature of digital media.
It did. And Ressa was arrested in February 2019, spent a night in jail. The conviction came in 2020 and was upheld in 2022.
And the harassment didn't even stop there. Kang filed a second cyberlibel suit against Ressa.
Over a tweet.
A single tweet she posted in 2019.
Yes, containing a screenshot of an old news story. The prosecutor argued that by sharing it, she feloniously communicated the malicious imputations to her entire following. The workload of fighting felony charges over an article and a tweet is just immense.
And it's that cumulative pressure that really stands out. When you add up the maximum sentences for cyberlibel, the ownership charges, and the third front, the tax cases, that's how we get to that figure of Ressa facing around 100 years in prison.
The tax cases were undoubtedly part of that coordinated effort. Rappler and Ressa faced charges for alleged omissions in value-added tax filings, starting around 2018.
And she was arrested multiple times for these different cases, right? Always having to post bail.
Yes, creating chaos, consuming time and resources.
But what was the outcome of those tax cases?
This is the crucial counter-narrative of resilience. In January 2023, after years of legal wrangling, a Philippine court acquitted Ressa and Rappler of the tax evasion charges.
Which strongly reinforces the analysis that they were intended as political pressure tactics.
I think so, yes. Not legitimate fiscal enforcement.
It's clear that the battles Rappler faced, the PDRs, the libel laws, the tax charges were synchronized. They illustrate a playbook for neutralizing effective digital critics globally.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what's so striking is that connection between their technological savvy and their political vulnerability.
Go on.
Rappler's strength was its ability to use its tech, originally designed for measuring mood and organizing aid, to expose how power operates online through disinformation networks.
And once they exposed that system,
They became the enemy.
Rappler's story is just a living lesson in resilience. I mean, they found a defense against the corporate ownership challenge. They were acquitted of the tax charges. But they also show us that constant tension between protecting media freedom and navigating these complicated, often repurposed national laws.
Absolutely. And the organization continues to operate. It demonstrates that despite the immense pressure and the personal cost, fact-based digital journalism can persist. That 2024 reversal of the SEC order citing grave abuse of discretion, that's a key moment of accountability.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to consider this week. Maria Ressa won the Nobel Prize for championing truth in the digital age. But what truly protects an organization like Rappler in the long run? Is it the delayed relief of international recognition and successful legal defenses, or is it the continued active support of the public, fighting alongside them against the ongoing battle of disinformation campaigns?